for myself, not hard at all to imagine someday Ross at this. Greater Buffalo Sports Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Look.
Was he here long enough? I don't know.
Veteran NFL player in the trenches, Bulldog. Ivy Leaguer. And now, I mean.
A staple?
Absolute. A longtime WGR guest.
Yeah, all right.
Plus, in addition to his other duties, Westwood One, the Ross Tucker podcast, Even Money Football. I mean, the guy has an empire. You've seen, there's a lot of people in this.
That is correct. That is correct.
Ross, I am announcing my candidacy to nominate you for the Greater Buffalo Sports Hall of Fame someday.
And I'm a little lukewarm. How do you feel about it, Ross?
He's not sure.
I love it. I'm actually already in several Hall of Fames. I don't mean to brag, but I am in the Pennsylvania State Hall of Fame, Berks County chapter. You have to say the second part really like trailing away and low.
Yeah.
I try to make it sound like I'm in the State Hall of Fame, but I'm actually just in the Berks County chapter of the State Hall of Fame.
Still good.
It annoys me because on Monday night when I do games with Kevin Harlan, I listen to him with Kurt Warner. And he's always like, I'm with Hall of Famer Kurt Warner here on Monday night. Well, when I'm with Kevin, he never says that. And my question to him is, does it have to be the Pro Football Hall of Fame? You know? Why can't I'm also in the Wyomissing Football Association Hall of Fame in Wyomissing, Pennsylvania. Again, I don't mean to brag, but it's kind of a big deal. I should be in the, what's that town in New York where I did an appearance one night? I should be in their Hall of Fame.
Like out by the stadium?
It's kind of far away from Buffalo, but they do this, like, cool night. I went with Dornbos and, like, Don Maynard was there.
Ooh.
Hornell?
Hornell.
Yep. Not Cornell. No, Hornell with an H.
Gotcha. Right.
I mean, you're clearly building a case. And, again, you have our, or at least my support.
You know what I remember about the Hornell presentation? Two things. One is, I don't know why, but when I was with the Bills, I wore a tan suit a lot. And when you're 320, 325, a tan suit is not what you should go with. Like, you need to go with a dark suit. Mm-hmm. That tan just made me look bigger, you know? Mm-hmm. I needed to wear, like, a dark suit. Secondly, I'm sitting at the table, and the guy that's, like, running it is talking to some other guy, and he's like, yeah, ticket sales were down like 20%. I mean, you know, last year we had Thurman Thomas. A couple years before that, we got Jim Kelly. You know, with these guys, you know, and I'm like, hey, buddy, I'm right here. I'm right here. Like, can you move away when you – like, I know I'm not as well known as those guys, but you have to say it near me. Let's use a little bit of truth here.
Don Maynard, you can't catch sunshine. He was on our show years ago. I loved it. He was super cool. Well, you can't wear a yellow jacket either, to that Hall of Fame confusion point. You can't just roll into Lambeau in a yellow jacket, right? Like that would be bad form.
Yeah. That would actually be interesting. Like, what would happen if I just bought a really nice yellow sport coat and just started wearing that to the games I was broadcasting on the radio?
I would love it. That'd be great. With us is, as we did not the best job introducing Ross, Odyssey NFL insider Ross Tucker. Insider calls are brought to you by Nationwide. For your insurance and financial needs, Nationwide is on your side.
So, Ross, Sunday has some of us shook, maybe more than others. Certainly not everyone is across the board in the same headspace, but I thought the Bills could go into Miami and sort of have half of their A game and still win them, still beat them handily. Win them? What the hell happened there? I'm not going to any Halls of Fame the way I'm going.
No, Hornell is not online too.
No, they're not calling for me. And Ross, I mean, it's the NFL. It happens, but holy cow. Did you see that coming at all?
No, because I thought they'd win the game, and I thought the Dolphins kind of had their one hurrah, if you will, against the Falcons, and then they outplayed the Ravens in the first half, and then after they lost, then they're trading away Jalen Phillips, who, by the way, was fantastic last night for the Eagles. So I kind of was not expecting, the Bills to lay that egg on the one hand. On the other hand, as I wrote on social media, at Ross Tucker NFL on Twitter X specifically, and a lot of Bills fans engaged with it and responded, we've talked about this now for 3 years, guys. Like, we've been talking about this. Now, listen, maybe I missed a year, but I'm convinced they do this every year. We talked before the season and early in the season how critical it was that they took advantage of their opportunities this year to get the number one seed, and that they didn't lose games that they have no business losing this year. Well, this was that game. And a lot of the Bills fans replied to me and said, no, Atlanta was that game. Atlanta was that game. Atlanta, I feel a little bit differently about, because at least at that point, Atlanta still felt like they were a decent team, and it was a primetime game and Monday night game. This was a Sunday one against a divisional opponent that knows they're doing nothing this year. And it wasn't just that they won. They won handily. This wasn't like a last second, oh, man, we blew it. This was we got our you-know-what's kicked by a bad team. And so now the number one seed is the least of the Bills' concerns at this point. And, man, I'd be in a bad headspace if I'm a Bills fan right now, because I would be very nervous that the reign of control as AFC East champs is over, and that you have a bunch of AFC East championships to show for it, but no Super Bowl appearances during whatever it's been, 5-year run, 6 years, you guys tell me, and now it's over, and there might be a new kid on the block who's the old kid who used to beat us up all the time.
So, Ross, as far as like how they can fix their problems, this game Sunday, they had a lot of them. There was also, in the wake of the trade deadline, talk about the Bills trying for Jalen Waddle or even maybe Quinnen Williams. Wonder what that means to a team, if anything, psychologically. Where to start here? When it's this season, when teams can handle James Cook, as backwards as this might seem with an Allen team, they can get away with it. And that's like, it seems, the key to beating the Bills. So is it going to be as simple as that going forward? Can the Bills find more in their offense and their passing game to make this okay?
Well, they're going to have to. Yes, I think they can. I mean, it's not a good sign that they just signed McCole Hardman. I mean, I'm okay with trying to other guys, but I don't know what the Dolphins were asking for Jalen Waddle. But if you think about it, if they got Jalen Waddle, they'd probably just win Sunday's game. The addition for the Bills and subtraction for the Dolphins, that might have been the difference in Sunday's game. What's that worth? I'm not sure the Eagles win last night's game against the Packers without Jalen Phillips. Now, they gave up a third-round pick for him. I would love to ask GMs and analytics people and math people what a quality win is worth in terms of a draft choice compensation. I think most people would say, hey, if this is going to be the difference between beating the Packers on Monday Night Football or not, yeah, I'd give a seventh-round pick. We're trying to win the Super Bowl this year, and that's a huge win. Is it a sixth-round pick? Is it a fifth? Like, I don't know what the number is, but there's a number clearly that you would give up a draft choice for a victory, an important victory. So I'd love to know what the Dolphins wanted for Waddle. I'd love to know what the Bills were offering. What I'm not a huge fan of is these reports on Sunday. The Bills were the highest bidder for this guy. The Bills tried the hardest for this guy. I'm a huge fan of Brandon Beane. I think he's done a really nice job. But it's kind of like what Mike Vrabel said. This is not horseshoes. This is not hand grenades. This is NFL transactions. There is no close. Close is not even a thing.
Right.
That's like saying, oh, we almost drafted this guy, but then the team ahead of us drafted him. Yeah, nobody cares ever, forever, never. Like that's the part where I'm not a fan of, like, I don't know, saving face leaks, if you will.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter that they were close.
Well,
that almost makes it worse. That almost makes it feel worse.
100%, I agree, Ross. We've talked some about this. The reporting is that it was a first and a third that the Bills were willing to send to Miami, and the hang-up was that the first was going to be in 2027, and they wanted it to be in this upcoming in 2026, and that was the problem. And I agree with you. If you believe that reporting, I think that makes the Bills look worse, because what's the difference between giving up the 20? I mean, that makes it just look like you backed away because you didn't want to pay that price. And I think most Bills fans would have gone, yeah, I'll pay that price. I mean, easy for us to say out here, right? We don't have to do Brandon Beane's job, but I don't know. If they leaked that story thinking it was going to help them, that they tried really hard to get Jalen Waddle, the specifics of it undo any goodwill that they might have got. I don't want to speak for everyone. Maybe somebody likes it. I don't know. But to me, it just says failure.
You know what's funny about that, too, is I've spoken with multiple executives from teams that have told me they would much rather, and they think every team would say this, much rather have first-round picks in 2027 than 2026.
Yep.
They've done the work, and if you look at college football, both at quarterback or some of these guys like Jeremiah Smith and Ryan Williams at receiver, the 2027 draft has the best players in college football right now. The 2026 draft does not. And so I had a guy tell me recently, I think most teams would rather have stockpile first, like the Jets. They got a first-round pick for Gardner in 2027 and a first-round pick for Quinnen Williams in 2027. That wasn't like an accident. That was on purpose because they think there's going to be better high-end players in that draft. So that really, Bulldog, doesn't make sense.
With Ross Tucker on the Wester Hotline, Insider Calls brought to you by Nationwide. For your insurance and financial needs, Nationwide is on your side. Well, New England wins again. Nice win in Tampa. Indianapolis pulls it out in Berlin in overtime against Atlanta. Denver, 10-7 on Thursday night. Of course, 10-7 also the score, oddly, last night in your game. So it didn't get easier in the standings. Just as we've talked about, here we go into Week 11. Bills, Chiefs, both. Well, the Chiefs aren't even in a playoff spot.
Right.
Bills in a wild card spot. Baltimore in there, too. Maybe they get through and win their division. But very different and interesting time in that way in the AFC.
Yes. And what's funny about that is, like, the Broncos have won 7 straight. They're 8-2. They're home on Sunday against the 5-4 Chiefs, and the Chiefs are favored by 3.5.
Yep.
That's the thing that people are like, oh, you are what your record says you are. I mean, technically yes, but that doesn't mean that's who's really the better team. I mean, nobody thinks the Broncos are better than the Chiefs. Nobody. Their record is, and they might, as a result, end up getting, winning the division, but nobody actually thinks that they're better.
I think you could say the same thing about the Ravens and the AFC North. Like Pittsburgh is still leading that division, but I right now I would bet on the Steelers missing the playoffs.
I would agree with that. That's the thing, too. Who was I talking? Oh, I was on in Houston this morning on the Odyssey station, and they're happy that, they won the game against the Jags. They came back. I said, have you guys seen who you're up against in the AFC wildcard race right now? You ever heard of the Chiefs or the Bills or the Chargers or maybe the Steelers or Ravens? I mean, it is fierce for those wild card spots in the AFC. And I have my doubts about teams like the Jags and the Texans, but it's very possible the 3 wild card spots are Bills, Chiefs, Chargers.
Yep.
I theoretically it could be Bills, Chiefs, Ravens. I mean, that is fascinating. Which, a couple of things. One is makes those playoff games awesome. And secondly, there were a lot of people that didn't like the idea of having a 7th playoff team in each conference when the NFL did it. We really need it. I mean, it doesn't seem like many of these years that people thought, there's going to be 8, 9 teams in. That hasn't been the case at all.
Yeah, this year could be that year, especially for that. Before you go, Ross, last night, I can't figure out what has happened to Green Bay. Maybe I was just too high on them. But losing to Carolina and then this game, I mean, I don't want to say anything bad about Philadelphia here necessarily, but Green Bay had tons of chances. Seemed to be able to get the ball across the 50 easily enough. But, man, am I too harsh thinking really negatively about Jordan Love in this game? They have injuries. Philadelphia is good. But, man, I wanted a lot better from the Packers.
Well, Love has been inconsistent this year. So, and we know that. I would say actually both quarterbacks had off nights last night. I also think, I was there. I called the game with Kevin Harlan last night. So when you look at a game like that, I don't know, guys. I thought it was maybe 2/3 to 3/4, I would say, good defense and 1/3 to 1/4 bad offense. It was more good defense with 2 really talented, young, fast defenses. I mean, they are that good. You think about Micah Parsons and Rashawn Gary and those linebackers, Cooper and Quay Walker, and then the Eagles, those defenses are really good. The quarterbacks were a little bit off, and the offenses were having some mental errors, some penalties, some mistakes, and that's how you end up getting 10-7 like they got. That's what happens. The other thing I would say, though, for the Packers, in fairness, their best skill position player is Tucker Kraft. He's now out for the year with a torn ACL. I think their best receiver is Jaden Reed. He's been out for weeks with a fractured collarbone. During the game, they lost arguably their best offensive lineman, Elton Jenkins, at center. They lost Romeo Dobbs, their best remaining receiver. I mean, they're down a lot of guys, Mike, a lot of guys.
Yep.
That's and the Bills are experiencing that a little bit, but you take away a team's 2 best receivers, best tight ends, and they're going against really good defense. That's going to be tough.
I know it was pretty cold. Was it windy, really windy? I didn't watch closely enough to know.
No, it was not. It was not. I mean, there was some wind, but that was not a major factor.
Okay.
You got time to tell us how you get out of there? Like, not just Green Bay, but any one of these games. Like 11. What time are you packed up? 11:30, and you're home when? This morning?
Well, a couple things. So, if it's a West Coast game, I always take a red eye. Different stadiums are more difficult to get out of. Packers is about a 10 to 15-minute sit there, but we do like a 20-minute post-game show. So that helps get some of the people out of there. And then typically, if I can't take the red eye, I'm on the first flight the next day. Mm-hmm. Last night was a unique circumstance. I have a friend that had never been to Lambeau. It was his birthday. I invited him to come with me, and then I ended up going on his private plane to the game.
Nice.
That'll work.
Yeah, that helped.
Win-win. That's a
I
win-win.
would have never known growing up where I grew up that was even a thing that people did. But
Right.
there are people that do that, and I happen to be friends with some of them, which is nice.
Very good.
Well, no having to deal with the long lines then. So good for you.
Thank you, Ross.
That was, especially with everything that's going on. By the way, is that over now?
All the canceled flights.
You guys know I don't follow current events or politics at all. So now that the government shutdown is about to be over, right? Does that mean all the flights will be back to normal?
I don't know either. Bulldogs
we'll
shaking
get
his
on
head.
that.
I have no idea.
No.
All right, well, go ahead and. All right, this is where I need everybody else, okay?
Yes.
At Ross Tucker NFL on Twitter X. I don't feel like looking it up or Googling it. Just say, Ross, the shutdown will officially end Wednesday. All of your flights next weekend should be good. Or whatever. Like, whatever the answer is, hit me up on social media at Ross Tucker NFL.
Hopefully they can cover for us. Thanks, Ross.
Always. See you guys.
All right. Talk to you next week. That is Odyssey NFL insider Ross Tucker. Insider calls are brought to you by Nationwide. For your insurance and financial needs, Nationwide is on your side.
I'm not sure he doesn't sound like a guy who necessarily needs commercial.
No,
flights.
at least not last night. Yeah, right.
I wonder if he thinks I knew that. That's why I happened to ask him today about getting. I did not know any of that. I've been to Green Bay, and the idea of having to get home when I'm leaving the stadium at midnight or whatever that is. How do you even do it? Remember once with weather, we had to drive to Appleton, Wisconsin, and fly out of Appleton to Detroit. And I can't picture Ross doing any of that.
Right.
I feel like he's too big time for that kind of.
And now we know he is.
And that was correct.
That's been confirmed.
That has been confirmed.
He's got a friend with a private plane.
I do not have that.
No, I at least not that I'm aware of.
The closest I get now is knowing Ross, who knows somebody with a plane.
Right.
That's the closest I've ever been to a private plane. All right, Bills angst. 803-0550. We're at the Buffalo Convention Center today. The Greater Buffalo Sports Hall of Fame induction ceremony is tonight. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here for your calls. This is WGR.